Hey everybody, welcome to Moment of Clarity. Hello, Jonas, AG, a Random Jack. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me and being here. Please take a second to share this, let people know, and click subscribe and thumbs up and all that snaz if you haven't. Let me make sure I'm going live on Rockfin as well. There we go. Should be on Rockfin too. If you aren't following my Rockfin, it's rockfin.com/Lee Camp. All right. So today we're going to get into Extinction Rebellion's Money Rebellion. We're going to talk something about that. We're going to talk about the things Biden could do on April Fool's Day to actually help every American. And it would fit with April Fool's Day because he's not really going to do those things. So it'd be perfect for him. Hey, Ron. And thanks for joining me. All the donations will go to those in need in these incredibly tough times. We talk more about that on the Sunday live stream. So if you want to know all the details, join us Sunday nights. But yeah, all the proceeds of donations. And if you're watching this later, you can, besides the super chat, if you're watching this later, you can donate on Venmo with @LeeCamp. Many of you have donated. Thank you so much. And the people that are receiving those funds are incredibly appreciative. All right. Let's get into some of this. Oh, and by the way, I know, whenever you go after something like DSA, Democratic Socialist of America, I've been getting a lot of pushback. Some people are angry. So I'm doing the other side of it as well. I'm going to have a proud DSA member who shall remain nameless until he's on next week. But I'm having him on next week to talk about how wonderful DSA is, and we'll see if he's right or not. It should be fun. So for all of you saying, how dare you say these things, keep your pants on, all right? The other side of the story is coming. Keep your pants firmly secured. I can't stress that enough. All right. I try to let people know this is a pants full environment, pure pants here. And some people just don't abide. They do not. And I send out emails. I send out tweets, text, zings, zangs, TikToks, tillybips, and of course, occasional piddle. And yet, despite the fact that I've done all that, people still show up without their pants on. I don't know what it is. Jonas says his pants are on. Thank you, Jonas. See, Jonas is with us. Jonas knows the rules. All right. That's something to look forward to for next week. The defensive DSA. Anyway, greetings from Portugal. Hello, Antonio from Portugal. So let's see. Shall we start off with the Money Rebellion? Well, actually, it's not just the Money Rebellion. I wanted to go into, I'm going to start with that. I wanted to go into the founder or co-founder of Extinction Rebellion getting arrested. It was just, I think, yesterday. And I'll show you the press release here. So, yeah, and by the way, I know this is in my email. Don't read my emails. What, as tempting as it may be to click on my emails, don't you fucking do it. So yeah, Extinction Rebellion co-founder Gail Bradbrook breaks a window at Barclays Bank in an act of civil disobedience. And since I know that Facebook and YouTube actually reads the transcripts of my videos and suppresses them or covers them up, from here on out, I will be saying that Gail Bradbrook broke the cupcake of Barclays Bank. So she smashed, she just fucking destroyed the bank's cupcake. And yeah, YouTube, I hope you heard me, that we are only talking about cupcakes. We are certainly not talking about the windows of Barclays Bank. And one other point I would like to make for the YouTube algorithms reading this transcript. I do not and would not ever support breaking the windows of a bank to make a political point. I would totally never support that. So let's get back to this. Dr. Gail Bradbrook, one of the founders of Extinction Rebellion, broke the window of Barclays Bank in Stroud at around 6 a.m. this morning. They're in the UK, by the way. That's where I'm assuming Stroud is. The action was carried out carefully before opening hours, so no one would be harmed. Bradbrook is already awaiting trial for alleged criminal damage at the Department for Transport. Wait, what? Why does that say 2019? They sent this email out this morning. Well, all right. If this is from 2019, then color me purple and call me Sally. I get what they're saying. Okay, they're saying she's awaiting trial for some other alleged criminal damage from 2019. Okay, gotcha. I thought they were saying this happened in 2019. No, the window just broke. Was just broke. I mean, the cupcake. It was a fucking cupcake. Okay, YouTube. Okay, Facebook. We're only talking about cupcakes. We do not support damaging property. So the action is part of XR's Money Rebellion, which draws on a history of civil disobedience using window breaking and seeks to expose the role of banks in the climate and ecological crisis alongside the wider issues in the current political economy. Bradbrook said, our leaders are not pushing for rapid action. They are ignoring the science. Targets are inadequate and aren't being met. Well, Bradbrook found a target, didn't she? It was a cupcake. She continues, we are on a path towards the collapse of our civilization with billions dying in our children's lifetime, according to some scientists. Those who are failing to lead adequate action on the climate and ecological crisis are committing crimes against humanity. So yeah, there's that. I mean, I suppose you got a point about how the whole society will be destroyed and, billions of people may die or become homeless or refugees in the next few years. And we're already seeing it. We're already seeing millions upon millions around the world having to leave their homes, leave their lands, leave their various areas in order to flee from climate change. So the climate change refugees already exist. Some of them running from massive hurricanes in the Bahamas, some of them running from floods in New Orleans, some of them running from forest fires in California. Climate change refugees already exist. That is not a future thing. That is a now thing. And so this co-founder of Extinction Rebellion broke the window of a Barclays bank, the cupcake of a Barclays bank to make a point, to draw attention to it and to remind people that everyone should be furious and should be willing to break things, which I do not support. But also, and I've discussed this before, this gets into the definition of violence, the definition of destruction. Why is it that it is called violence if you break a bank's cupcake, but it's not called violence for, at least not in the courts. It's not called violence for the banks to foreclose on millions of homes and kick people out of their houses, for the banks to destroy lives with things like subprime mortgages and predatory lending, for the banks to repossess and cause endless amounts of damage to lives. For the banks to gamble. We have a fractional reserve currency, right, in this country and many countries, and the banks are gambling with money that they don't have, with money that's supposedly yours, and they're gambling. What are they putting that money into? The stocks of weapons contractors. How is that not violence? How is that not damage? To fund weapons contractors, to fund big oil, to fund big coal, to fund big agro. Why is that not called violence? So we live in this kind of upside down moral world where Dr. Bradbrook breaks a window, and she's considered violent. She's considered, a cupcake, and she's considered to have created damage to this bank. But it's not considered damage to the world, as these same banks fund the actual destruction of our future. They are setting fire to the future of this planet. And that's not called damage. That's not called violence. At least not in your mainstream media or in our court system that have been captured by the richest entities, the most powerful corporate entities in the world. And the answer, Tony, is no. Hold on. Okay, there it was. 2-second meditation. That's how you do it. That's my vacation. That's in my head. I was on a beach enjoying myself for a solid 2 seconds, which means I have a lack of imagination, because if you're imagining it, why don't you imagine like you did it for like an hour or like a day or something? But no, I only could imagine for 2 seconds. So, yeah, I gotta work on my imagination. I'm gonna get there though. But anyway, so I just want to say, that was a bad idea you had, Dr. Bradbrook. You should never ever have done that. You should not have broken that cupcake. You are a bad Bradbrook. See what I did there? So here are the demands that in this article they go through why Barclays. A lot of people like to say of protesters, of activists, they certainly said it of Occupy activists. They like to say, they don't have any demands. They don't know why they're picking this entity or that entity to go after. Well, this press release from Extinction Rebellion lays out why Barclays is one of the worst. Barclays' investments to fossil fuels and biodiversity loss amount to billions. And it's argued that their actions are helping to drive the climate and ecological emergency. Barclays are the biggest funders of fossil fuels in Europe, financing fracking, coal, Arctic oil, and gas extraction. Between 2016, when the Paris Climate Agreement was signed, and 2019, they poured more than 118 billion with a B, as in holy fucking boobs, that's a lot of money. $118 billion into fossil fuels. And in 2019, they were the worst bank for fossil fuels in the Arctic. So today's action puts a spotlight on Barclays' role in funding industrial animal agriculture, which, if you guys watch me on here much, you know that industrial animal agriculture is one of the greatest harms to climate change and climate catastrophe. It is one of the worst. They use 70% of the fresh water is used for large-scale agriculture. 30% is used for animal agriculture. So it's definitely one of the worst. Barclays has also been implicated in tax dodging scandals. Tax dodging is believed to make it harder for all countries, especially those in the global south, to finance the transition to a green economy and support measures such as the education of women and girls. Tax dodging costs the world's tax authorities the equivalent of an annual nurse's salary every second, and is considered a form of neocolonialism. To talk about the tax dodging for a minute, it's like, it's one thing if people say they're resisting paying their taxes because they don't want to support our wars abroad or something, but that is a tiny amount. The vast, probably 99% of all the tax dodging. I'm making up that number, but I think I made it up well. But a large percentage, the vast majority of tax dodging is done by corporations and the incredibly wealthy, which is why it's hilarious that the IRS under Trump, but also under Obama, we're putting more money to the IRS to investigate individual tax dodge, like low-level, middle-class tax dodges, rather than the actual billionaires that pay millions of dollars to lawyers to make sure they can dodge all their taxes. This is how you end up with corporations paying $0. A lot of years, Bank of America, is paying $0. GE is paying $0. Amazon is often paying $0. Google, I don't know where their headquarters is now. Probably some fucking island with just one chimpanzee in a bikini out there. But I don't know where their headquarters is. But it's usually just a mailbox. He was in Ireland for a while. But yeah, now I'm pretty sure it's an island off of Guam. Just has one chimpanzee in a bikini who he collects the mail, and he signs the thing that says that Google is headquartered there. Thank you, Jonas. That's incredible. And yes, all of these donations go to those in need. We give you more details about it on the Sunday live stream. Jorge is asking about Seaspiracy, and I've seen part of it or something. Sorry about the phone. I've seen part of it. I know that it talks about how horrific the fishing and the destruction of the oceans is, and it sounds pretty fucking awful. Although the thing I found amazing I think I watched the trailer. The thing I found amazing was that they keep announcing all these protected areas of the oceans, and according to this specialist, and I haven't double checked this, but assuming she's correct, that when they say they're protecting, these are protected areas of the ocean, they're not actually stopping a lot of the fishing that goes on there. So they're like decreasing like kayaking that goes on there and shit like that. So in reality, even when they say this new area of the ocean is protected, we're keeping this safe, not really. It's just something they say so that you go, oh, great, that part of the ocean's safe, yay, and we think it actually matters. Anyway, Random Jack says they support Sea Shepherd. That was a damn good TV show. What was it called? Whale Wars, where they would chase around the Japanese ships and fire. My favorite was when they were firing foul-smelling shit at them. That was one of the tactics. Was they had like some like stink bombs and shit that they were firing onto the boat, which I support unusual tactics like that. Let's drop some stink bombs in the banks, right? Like cupcakes, stinky cupcakes. And I don't mean the kind you light, because I think you'd get in some deep shit for doing that. But I mean just like the type. It's like a chemical. It's like a little perfume you could like drop that just smells terrible. So the people in the bank are like, Jesus Christ, what is that? And then we could be like, yeah, that's how your profession smells, because what you do to the planet stinks. Saying we get a pun in there, because that's really important in activism, is to have some sort of pun you can hit them with, because then they're like, oh, the smell wasn't that bad, but that pun was terrible. And then they go running, screaming down the street. And so it really solves the problem. But so to go back to Extinction Rebellion, and they have a whole thing on, let's see here. They have a whole thing on money rebellion. And it seems like, judging from this website, they're kind of building it out. It's not all happening yet, but they say the climate and ecological emergency is still getting worse. Racism and exploitation of poorer nations is still rife. And I like that they're including that, because these things they do factor in with each other. The global racism and climate catastrophe. I mean, because the racism that already exists will be used as we see climate refugees, right? The white countries will have an easier time moving around. The various governments will stop the countries that they don't like or that they have racism against from being able to move around the globe to areas. I mean, and that's the problem, is that that's not an answer, moving around the globe to try to avoid the catastrophe we're creating. But that's how the billionaires view it, that they can just move away. Ted Cruz, right, going to Cancun during the catastrophe in Texas, the deep freeze that cut off all their electricity. That's how they view it, is that the rich and the billionaires can just run to another area of the planet. And here's Human Love Solidarity is telling us about Cesar Chavez Day 2021. I was unaware. I think I know a lot less than people think I do. Okay, so going back here. Let's see here. Join us in rejecting the economic rules and financial institutions that are killing us. They get into why a money rebellion is needed, and I think that is kind of self-explanatory to you guys. Money rebellion is a call to expose and disrupt the economic rules and institutions driving us towards societal collapse, growth, debt, banks, the government. Find out why and how to disrupt these ideas, institutions, and more in our first wave of actions. Let's just pause here for a second, and I think that's one of the most important things in activism is, are you disrupting business as usual? Because if you're not, then it's fine, but it's more of a parade. And I'm not saying I've been to many marches and protests that got a license and had speakers and things like that, because I think it can be important on an information standpoint. You speak to the people and you talk about these issues. Why is Venezuela important? That kind of thing. But in terms of actually, is the action changing things as opposed to informing? And if you got a license, a little permit from the police to be in that area and everything, and we get 2 hours, and then at exactly 2 hours you go home. That's not an action that changes things. It's an action that could inform, like I said, but it's kind of like a parade. We showed up and we held our signs and we paraded and we went home. The actions that tend to have far larger impact, an outsized impact, one might say, are those that interrupt business as usual. And I'd say one of the biggest ones that we're seeing right now, that you can tell by how upset the ruling elite are about it, is BDS, right? Boycott, divest, and sanctions with Israel. That's a campaign to basically hurt Israel in the bank account, and that's the type of thing that worked in South Africa, and it is having an impact because those corporations and politicians that basically say, oh no, Israel can do whatever the fuck they want. They can occupy this territory. They can shoot Palestinians across the border, killing children and press and old women and all this stuff, or old men. The people that support that are fucking flipping out about BDS. Even it was sad to see even Andrew Yang had given in to the garbage that it's anti-Semitic to support BDS, basically holding Israel to account to end the apartheid state, and he's full of shit. That is not anti-Semitic. It's actually a legitimate and long-lasting, form of protest that has an impact. So anyway, thank you again, Human Love Solidarity. I don't know what exactly we should do on National Crayon Day, but I've got 3 of them up my ass, just to show some crayon love. But anyway, so back to Money Rebellion. So I think that this is important because it's interrupting business as usual. They say they're having an online rally April 11th. By the way, this is all extinctionrebellion.uk. You can find this website. Nonviolent direct action. Banks, the stock market, and other unrelated financial institutions make huge decisions for us and for the planet with little to no accountability. We need new rule makers that allow life on Earth to thrive. We'll disrupt key economic institutions with a wide range of nonviolent tactics. Explore this presentation for the full. I suppose I can say that part without the emphasis. Explore the presentation for the full range of economic. I was still in my this is important voice. We need new rule makers and then they fucking with just a dash, with just an M dash in there, they slip into something little point about the presentation, and here I am yelling it for no. We need new lawmakers who will deal with the fact that Earth is collapsing and exploit this presentation for the full range of economic actions. The local groups ahead. Why am I yelling the last part? Listen, Extinction Rebellion. If you want me to deliver this, you gotta give me more warning than an M dash to fucking that shit's gonna go on back to just little. And by the way, we chose this font because it's easier to read. You can't, I'm like an animal. A fucking species goes extinct every 30 seconds. And don't forget to click the share button to let your friends. Wait a second. Anyway. So let's see here. Tax disobedience. The government continues to pour our taxes into fossil fuel subsidies, condition-free bailouts for polluting industries. So they get into that. Disputing debt. They talk about the hashtag won't pay, can't pay. That's been pretty strong recently. And they also give a longer list of action resources on that page. So check it out if you feel like it in your spare time. I wanted to get to one other thing, one other news story that is coming from David Swanson. If you don't read David Swanson, he does a lot of great work on anti-war. And his website is davidswanson.org. He's also an author. But so David Swanson put up a list of all the things Biden has announced he's going to do. So it really is incredible. All these things that Joe Biden is going to do that, completely shifting the way he's been behaving, his actions so far. This is a big shift. This Thursday, April 1st, the Biden White House is set to release a collection of new plans and actions. By Thursday evening, all U.S. troops will be out of Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. U.S. participation in the war on Yemen will be ended. The Iran agreement will be rejoined. And U.S. weapons sales to brutal Middle Eastern dictatorships will be permanently stopped. As a result of reduced military expenses, there will be less need for what Biden now calls the goofy joke where we pretended my next spending package would be paid over 15 years as if we wouldn't need to buy anything else between now and 2036. So yeah, totally incredible that Biden's making this shift. I mean, totally mind-blowing. And of course, you might notice the date that David Swanson put on the article is April 1st, April Fool's Day. So there you go. This is all the stuff that Joe Biden would never fucking do, is not fucking doing, has no interest in doing. Of course, he's continuing the wars around the world. And here's more of a list of all the things Biden has announced he's going to do on April Fool's Day. A $15 an hour minimum wage. Wouldn't that be nice? Paid sick and family leave. Expanded voting rights, including for people convicted of felonies. Campaign finance reform. Yeah, that's really happening. You know what? You know what happens a lot is politicians in our incredibly corrupted system decide to change the way that they dominate the system. They turn around and they go, hey, you know how I am able to win my elections because I have more money than anybody else, and I can call Wall Street and get all their money and totally swamp any other person that competes against me. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the thing that made it possible for me to achieve this ridiculous power. They don't do that. So campaign finance reform is a fucking joke. Here are more things Biden is doing on April Fool's Day. So Biden is really not doing. Free community college for 2 years. Forgiveness of student debt at public colleges and universities. Free college for families paid less than $125,000 a year. Universal preschool. A healthcare public option. A lowered age for Medicare. A pathway to citizenship. A ban on assault weapons, a ban on union busting, a ban on new fracking. How about a ban on all fracking? A tax penalty for offshoring, the cap removed on Social Security taxes, vouchers capping housing costs at 30% of income, abolition of the federal death penalty, decriminalization of marijuana, elimination of cash bail and mandatory minimum sentences. All things Joe Biden is totally not doing, not concerned with, won't be doing. In fact, he's busy firing any staff that has admitted that they smoked marijuana in the past. He did that recently, which, as I'm saying as I've written into the script for an upcoming Redacted, so you'll see me repeat this on Redacted. It's hilarious that Joe Biden did that, considering the amount of chemicals his brain is swimming in. I mean, how many fucking pills? How many prescription pills do his doctors pump him full of right now? I mean, that dude is swimming in more chemicals than a population underneath Monsanto's Roundup. And yet he's upset that people admitted to past marijuana use. I will say one light criticism of David Swanson's list here of all the things Joe Biden's not doing is Swanson actually went a little light on some of these things. You know, get rid of the federal death penalty. I say get rid of fucking all death penalty. Don't give me the states' rights garbage. Get rid of the fucking death penalty. You think our state's court system can decide or should decide who dies and who doesn't? Bullshit. It is rigged. It's racist. It's garbage. Get rid of the death penalty. The only difference between the death penalty and the rest of our imprisonment is, at least with the rest of our imprisonment, you can go, oops, our bad. You can't really do that with the death penalty. He also, Swanson also said, capping housing costs at 30% of income. I say housing should be a guarantee. I'm not saying everybody should have a McMansion. In fact, that'd be terrible for the planet. I don't even think people who have McMansions should have McMansions. But I think a roof over your head should be fucking guaranteed. He says forgiveness of student debt at public colleges and universities. How about forgiveness of all student debt? Let's do that. He says, lowered age for Medicare. How about Medicare for all? He's actually going, David Swanson's actually going fairly reasonable, like way more reasonable. And reasonable is not the term. I'll say light, way more light. Because I think my fucking views are reasonable, because they actually have to do with how humanity should treat each other. And I'm not saying Swanson's don't, but housing should be guaranteed. Life should be a comfortable life. Now that we live in a world where scarcity is a thing of the past, if we actually dealt with it right, a comfortable life should be a guarantee. Fucking food should be a guarantee. Education should be a guarantee. So anyway, I think Swanson's list, although they're all things Biden would not do, Swanson's list is actually a little light for me. Randy says he has a group about the death penalty, which, by the way, I have yet to hear. And I like that you guys are throwing in your own recommendations. Ratty says ban billionaires. Someone else agrees. Medicare for all. I like this one, Tony. Defund Jeff Bezos. Eat the rich ain't a bad plan. And exactly. Base needs to be guaranteed because we're in a post-scarcity world, and those who don't understand that, they say, what do you mean? There's people. So I'm just for the moment, I'll just talk about America. People say, what do you mean? There's people very poor in America. There's homeless in America. There's people who literally don't know where they're going to get food in America. There's people who don't know where they're going to get clean water. 2,000 cities in America have lead in their water. And so when you say we're in a post-scarcity world, they go, look at all this scarcity there is, though. Yeah, that's because we've decided to have an economic system that doesn't actually deal with these things appropriately. And the word economics was meant, initially had to do with efficiency. It had to do with what is the most efficient way to get things to people and to have these systems run. And now it's about enriching yourself or enriching the rich even further. So if we actually use the original meaning of economics and about how efficiently can we get things to people, then you could absolutely have food for everybody in America. We throw out 40% of all food. Some of it you throw out because you fill up your plate at the buffet. Yeah, I'm totally gonna eat 36 shrimp. 36 is a nice even number of me. I'm totally 36 fried shrimp. I'll get those on there and a half pound of Jello. And remember buffets before the pandemic? And I'll just throw on two steaks. I mean, you don't want to stop at one steak, two steaks. And I'll just throw on, I don't eat meat, but I'm just saying. And I'll throw on, let's go with 2 banana sundaes. You got to throw those on there. And we'll put it all in there. And then you get 4 shrimp into your 36 fried shrimp. You're like, there's a lot of fried shrimp, man. All right, I'm going to throw out 32 of these, but, I'd like to say that I made an effort. I laid it all on the field, but, yeah, I'm going to throw out all those. And then they run around, they grab your plate, and they throw it out for you, so it's wonderful. So, yes, that is a lot of where the food waste is, but more of the food waste comes from just stores with often bullshit expiration dates. They throw all that shit out. You have subsidizing farms to create produce and shit that can't be sold because of the way the subsidies work. They have to show that they produce this much milk, for example. And then what do? When they can't sell all the milk, they fucking dump it all out. Now, if we lived in a correct society, a rational society, a moral society, you wouldn't produce tons more milk than you need and then dump it all out. You produce what is actually needed. And then you probably also have a way to, if you did end up with excess, send it, freeze it, send it to areas of the world or whatever that need it. Of course, in a perfect society, we wouldn't need milk at all because, why do you have to drink cow mucus out of a tit? It doesn't, you don't need that cow's tit mucus. You really don't. There's other, if you're looking to suckle at something, there's other places to go. There really are. I know a lot of people who are looking for sucklers right now who would like to be suckled. And so if you're looking for, and when I say tit, I don't just mean literal tits. There's other, you can suckle other things. There's other things. There's a lot of things that can be suckled in this world. Okay. So, don't just stop at the tit. There is loads of things can be suckled. So if that's your reasoning behind milk, then you don't have to go for milk. There's other things. Anyway, and by the way, I just want you to know that was one of my favorite rants I've ever had just now, the last 30 seconds. But what the fuck were we talking about? See, that's the problem with these rants. They get me off the fucking mental track and then I can't get back on, but I enjoy them. So I go down them anyway. I can't resist. I can't resist. Scarcity world. Yes. So The point is, like, when people think, oh, we have scarcity in this country, the truth is we wouldn't if we actually dealt with everything correctly. If we had a different socioeconomic system, we would not throw out 40% of all food. We would not have people, everybody would have a roof over their head. We have, and I've covered it a lot, we've had endless numbers of empty buildings all over our landscape. Often people talk about the number of homes, like there's enough homes to give every homeless person, you know, there 3 houses or 6 or something. But it's not just homes, right? There's apartments just empty. Half the buildings in fucking DC. I mean, I'm in downtown DC. There's like fucking 90% of these buildings are empty because of the pandemic. But even when they're full, they're empty. They've got plenty of space. So everybody could be housed. Everybody could have food. Everybody could have you know, the necessities, clothing. We now live in a world where you're supposed to buy a piece of clothes and throw it out a week later, you know, because you're not in the right fashion fucking cycle season. The fashion cycle used to be like a generation, you know, like one person would be young, grow old, and die in like the same dress. Just one fucking frumpy thing. The whole course of the life. Then the next generation would have a different outfit. But now it's like 42 minutes. 42 minutes. You're allowed to wear this shirt. I bought this shirt 40 minutes ago. I have 2 minutes left, and then I set fire to it. You have to set fire to them because H&M doesn't want their brand to get diluted. So you got to set fire to your shit afterwards. I don't shop at H&M. I'm just using them as an example because they're, you know, they're terrible. They have their shit made by children who have children. They have their clothes made by like a 3-year-old with like a 2-year-old on its back. Like it's a child with a child and a piece of clothing. And that's what, and then sometimes they try and get the 2-year-old to do a little work too. He'll like hold the buttons or something. But anyway, that was a true story, by the way, H&M. And it's not just H&M, but most of these brands, they will often shred or destroy. The story that this is several years ago, they probably still do it unless the backlash was large enough. But they would literally like have a type of shirt or whatever that they were trying to sell. It didn't sell. So they would have employees go and slash through the shirts and then throw them out rather than just throw them out. Because they were worried that people would find out, hey, H&M gets rid of their stuff. Let's go grab some shirts. So instead they slash it. Does anyone think that our earth could possibly sustain that? Could possibly sustain not just buying this much shit, but stuff that's not sold just being burned or slashed? There's no way the planet could sustain that. It's fucking crazy. It would, you know, they said it would take 5 Earths for us to sustain at this level, but I've heard new estimates that it's more like 25 Earths for us to keep going in this way. So, anyway, I know we've gone through a lot. I like to go all over the place, but I think we've done a lot of good work here. I think we've gotten a lot done. And by the way, I know some of you guys may watch other talking heads, other lefty hosts or whatever. I want to say, and some of them I'm fans of or I'm friends with or whatever, but I just want to say, if any of them that you're watching don't say the word capitalism on a regular basis, then they haven't dug deep enough, okay? Let's just say that. I won't say they're being assholes. I won't say they're like false flag fucking talking heads. I won't say any of that. They need to dig deeper, and they're missing the point if capitalism is not a regular talking point. It really needs to be. So just thought I'd throw that in there as a little afterwards. Steven wants us all to wear wife beaters, which, by the way, Steven, that name is so not PC, okay? It is spouse beater, okay? It is a spouse beater t-shirt. Anyone can be beaten in those shirts. Doesn't just need to be wives. You can beat, all kinds of people can be beaten in those shirts. let's see here. Always a great slogan. There is no planet B. I wonder who the first person to come up with that was. Steezy thinks Mars is an answer, but that's like saying, hey, don't worry, folks. If we destroy most of Earth, we can always go to the Sahara Desert. We can always move everybody to Death Valley, because that'll be great. Yeah, I don't think so. By the way, all donations are going to those in need, and we get into more of those details on the Sunday live stream, but thank you for the donations. All those will greatly help people, and I can't thank you enough. And same for you guys on Rockfin. If you're watching this later, you can still donate by using Venmo at Lee Camp. And by the way, if you want to, the only thing that is actually where the money actually goes to support my podcasts and things like that. I don't talk about it that much, but it's at liberapay.com/Lee Camp, liberapay.com/Lee Camp. It's I believe it's a French company that actually gives 100% to the performer or to the artist, rather than taking a cut. It's pretty incredible. But, okay. Thanks a lot, guys. And I do these every single weekday, except sometimes. And they're at leecamp.com. If you don't see the feed, just go to leecamp.com and check it out. Keep fighting.